David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another fountain pen review. Today I have for you a pen from a brand that is new to the market. If you attended the DC show, you would have seen them there, or you might have seen some of their pens spread out on social media lately. The name of the pen is the Narwhal Pen Company, and the pen I have for you today is the Narwhal Piston Filler. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of the Narwhal Piston Filler, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. And thanks go out to Narwhal Pens for providing this pen for review. Narwhal was founded by two gentlemen, Samuel Pang and Frank Zhang. They met in high school and bonded over their love of fountain pens. And now they're both attending college on the west coast of the United States. They had felt that existing designs of fountain pens were not necessarily, for the most part, very colorful or bright, and companies typically only targeted fountain pen enthusiasts. They wanted to create pens that were actually colorful and affordable and would appeal to a younger demographic. So Narwhal Pens was born. And this is what they have come up with. The pen arrives in this unique box. I like the Narwhal logo and the name on the side, kind of in a rainbow font. And then inside we have the pen. This is the Narwhal Piston Filler. It is available in 4 different colors. There is the Poseidon Blue, Merman Green, Yellow Tang, and the Hippocampus Purple, which is what I have here. Now, 3 of the names have something to do with the ocean, like the name of the company, but hippocampus is actually a part of the brain. It's the area of the brain involved in the formation of new memories, and also is associated with learning and emotions, which are all a big part of the fountain pen hobby when you think about it. The brand made their debut, as I said, at the 2019 DC Pen Show, and they were one of the highlights for a lot of people. On the first day of the show, Samuel and Frank were concerned about how many pens they might sell, and by the end of the show, they had completely sold out of all their inventory. Now, Narwhal is manufacturing these pens in China, and each of these pens is made from a swirled translucent acrylic. The ribboning is really nice on this pen. Ribboning like this is something I've seen a lot of lately. I don't know what Sam and Frank have in mind for their next model, but I'd like to see something a little bit different than this material. There's nothing wrong with the material. Like I said, I've just seen it a lot as of late. But what this material does provide is unique pens. So what you will receive will be different than any other pen in the line. Let's start by taking a look at the cap. On the end of the cap, there is a shiny metal circular insert, which is slightly rounded. Then we have the clip. While the clip is sturdy and operates well, I felt that this was a bit of a missed opportunity. With the company name being Narwhal, I thought it would have been really cool to have the clip in the shape of a narwhal tusk, kind of a round, twisted design. That would be a distinctive clip that could be a signature for the brand, kind of like Visconti's curved clips or Pelicans, which are in the shape of a pelican's beak. Now, I understand these pens were produced with a reasonable price as a goal, and a custom clip like that might add unwanted extra production cost as opposed to what they're currently using. So I understand. What they're currently using works great. I just thought that a narwhal tusk clip would look pretty cool. The cap angles up until about this point, and then it angles back down just slightly. It's a little rounded. Then we have a rounded step down to the barrel, which begins with this metal band. On the band, it has the brand name Narwhal written twice. Now, this pen utilizes a single cap thread, so the orientation between the cap and barrel is always going to be the same when capped. I would have liked it to have seen the lettering on this band centered a little bit better with the clip than it currently is on this specific pen. The barrel tapers down at a very slight angle until we get to this rounded metal band and then the piston knob. The end of the piston knob is rounded. By the name of this pen and the mention of a piston knob, you could deduce that this pen does indeed utilize a piston filling mechanism. The ink chamber is in this portion of the barrel and takes up about this much room, as you could tell by this darker portion here containing ink. And then this back portion in the back houses the business end of the piston. I do find that this piston operates smoothly and it feels well constructed. It doesn't feel like I'm going to break the pen when I'm filling it. I have some piston fillers that are on the less expensive side that I don't feel as solidly well built as this pen. The cap twists off, and underneath we have a number 6 steel nib. I like the Narwhal logo on this nib. The Narwhal piston filler is currently only available with a fine nib. You'll see in the writing sample, but I do find that this specific pen writes more like a medium rather than a fine. So if you're someone who doesn't care for kind of a scratchy fine nib, then I wouldn't have any worries about this fine nib on this pen. And here's a look at the plastic feed. The section begins with a slight flare, and then it angles up until you reach the cap threads. The section is a decent length, and I find it to be comfortable. But if you grip your pens a little bit further back on the section and your grip happens to rest on the threads, I don't find them to be sharp or uncomfortable at all. The pen is long enough to use unposted, which is a good thing because this cap will not post. This metal ring kind of prevents it from posting. The Narwhal piston filler retails for a reasonable price of $45. They are currently available at 3 retailers, which might change in the future, but currently they're available at Goldspot, Van Ness, and Points Pens. The last time I checked, there was very little inventory out there, but I've been told that each of these retailers are going to be receiving new shipments of inventory very soon, possibly this week. So be on the lookout for more availability of these pens soon. Overall, I really like the look and feel and quality of the Narwhal piston filler. It's a fun pen that performs really well, and it has a reasonable price. There's a lot to like about this pen, and I feel that the company will sell a lot of these pens moving forward. And I also look forward to seeing what new designs they come up with next as a follow-up to the piston filler. So now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and a writing sample. Here we go with some size comparisons for the Narwhal piston filler. Here it is with a TWSBI Diamond 580. Here it is with a Sailor Pro Gear. And then here it is with a Diplomat Aero. In regard to a number of blue pens, here it is with a Lamy All-Star, a Pilot Vanishing Point, and a Pelican M805. So here we go with the writing sample for the Narwhal piston filler. This is a fine nib, even though, like I said, it doesn't really write like an Eastern fine or a Japanese fine. It's more like I would consider it to be almost more like a Western medium. And the ink that I'm using today is a limited edition ink that is Diamine Purple Rain. Now, actually, I don't know if this is limited edition, but it is exclusive to Germany. Diamine this is what the ink looks like. It's kind of a nice dark purple. It has a little bit of sheen to it here. Diamine has a series of German exclusive inks that are named after music and rock songs. There's like Purple Rain and Communication Breakdown, November Rain, and things like that. And I have a number of those inks and a couple more on the way, so you'll see more of those later, but they're nice. Here it is in comparison to Cross Violet. There's just not as much shading. It's also darker. And then here it is with Lamy Dark Lilac as well. This is what the bottle looks like. It's their standard 80 milliliter bottle. And you can see here that it is Purple Rain. So let's take a look at the rest of the writing sample. find this fine steel nib to write fairly smooth, that I have no issues with this nib whatsoever, that I feel that it writes well. You can get a little bit of line variation out of there if you really push it. In regard to ink flow, you get a decent ink flow out of this pen. In regard to some reverse writing, that's actually fairly smooth. And then in regard to some fast writing, yeah, I don't have any issues with the feed on this pen. And as you can see, like I said, that really doesn't look like a fine. That's really more of like a medium. So there we have the Narwhal Piston filler. As I mentioned before, I feel for the $45 price, this pen is something that's really something that you should take a look at. I've been intrigued by it, and I think that they're going to be selling a large number of these pens in the future when the inventory becomes a little bit more readily available, because they're made well, they perform well, and I think they look pretty cool as well. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.